Hi folks, welcome back. We're doing a series of videos here on our run up to the first launch of the public version of the Workbench that you're looking at here in front of me. Yesterday we did some very basic reintroduction of the flow canvas and how things work. I want to talk a little bit today just about how the various kinds of inputs and outputs work within ZeroWidth. Again, I think yesterday we built a really simple chatbot, and we've got pretty simple, specific ways of getting data in and out if the intent is support a conversational designed experience with the language model you're interacting with. Specifically, we can grab an input chat node, output chat, and then pick any language model we want and throw it in the middle. I'm going to use GPT 4.1 Nano today. Here then it's as simple as, we went over this yesterday, but just to recap, connecting the messages of our current conversation to make sure that the model can act on all of those, and the message that comes out to the output. Now, the flow canvas here is set up when you use a chat output to automatically send the result of that back into the conversation here so you can continue the conversation. Now, a prompt like this through the model, my message number 3 here wouldn't make sense unless it had access to those previous messages. As a developer working with language models, it's kind of on you to maintain that state of conversation history and append it. In the canvas here, that all happens just automatically when you're using the specific chat inputs and outputs. Now, that's not the only thing that you need to do. I'm going to cruise up here. Let's get another instance of 4.1 Nano, and let's do just data in and out. Make that box a little smaller. Make this box a little bigger. Now, I don't know the value that you might type in here, kind of any arbitrary data. So the little tooltip on the port is a question mark because it's just unsure what kind of data that might be. So you're not going to get nearly as much guidance of where it can go, because it maybe could go anywhere. Well, if you noticed on snapping in our chat flow, when I was dragging around this link from the messages, it could only go to the messages. You can see it kind of being a little magnetized and helping me connect that up. When we're dealing with data that we don't know what it's going to be yet, why isn't my mouse working? There we go. Then it's kind of on you to be able to plug these things together. Similarly, let's take the entire message out for now for our output data. Maybe we'll just do a string example input. And we get a message output. Now, you notice this isn't just the message from that the language model said, it's the entire message object, which contains a role, and in this case, a string content. Now, maybe I don't want the whole role because I'm not carrying a conversation with this individual use of 4.1, so I'll just grab the content. And then we can rerun that, and we'll get just pure string content out the other side that we can use to manipulate and do something else. Maybe we'll do something like telephone, repeat this phrase ever so slightly, and repeat this phrase, but change it and return it to me. One of the things that I need to do is make this text wrap a little bit easier so that you don't have to deal with super long lines there. But it is the input data. We also have an input prompt that is a little more set for wrapping, which we'll talk about maybe in another video. If we have a phrase here, actually, you know what? I might take this text out of that, put it in a system prompt instead, just so it's a little more legible. And then, am I on trackpad mode? That's why. All right. Let's bring our system prompt up to the top here. We're going to now connect that prompt to this instance of 4.1 Nano. And it again says repeat, instead of this phrase, the phrase, change it a tiny bit and return it to the user. I'm changing my language a little bit here because it's a system prompt. The models are fine-tuned to support and listen to more directive messages in system prompts, language in terms like you, user, these other things, where versus in the user messages, or the data that goes into the model to be processed independent from the system prompt, it's used to more me kind of phrasing. So that's why I tweaked that a little bit. So if I just say the quick brown fox jumped lazy dog and run this, now it kind of described the change to me and then made the change. I don't really want that, so I'm going to tweak my system prompt a little bit here. Return only this edited phrase, no other text. And rerun this. The swift brown fox leapt over the sleepy dog. So it tweaked just a tiny bit of the phrasing here. But what if we grab another one and connect that content to the message there, the prompt to that? You'll notice now we're dealing with an individual string from content, but I'm connecting it to an output that says it is designed for messages. When you hover on the tooltips or on the little ports on either side of a node here, you'll get that tooltip that pops up that shows actually many other data types that might be supported. It might default to messages, but it can handle a string and automatically parse that over. I'll take that data output and leave it there, and let's maybe add another data output and tuck it here. Now if we run this, we have our first model editing our phrase, then our second model editing our phrase, and it comes back out the other side. So now we've kind of daisy chained two language models together. They're sharing the same system prompt in this case, and the first one is then passing its result on to the next one, which again, we could do this several more times. And maybe instead of monitoring every single one, let's just look at the last one and disconnect that. And we'll slide these up in a row here. And we'll just connect the content, and then we will give them all the same system prompt. And then just for fun, let's get rid of that one too. So now we're basically going to take one input phrase here and put it through a little game of telephone that's purposely getting things wrong through GPT-4 Nano 4 times. And we get something back. Change it to cat. Now, is this a really interesting use case of language models? I don't know. It's kind of an interesting experiment to see how these things cascade and get further and further from the individual prompt. But I've also kind of told it to specifically do that. So it's not the biggest surprise. But what is nice about the new Flow Canvas, which I'm trying to demonstrate here compared to especially the older version of Zero Width, is that you can do multiple completely independent flows in the same general canvas. So if an application maybe has multiple AI features, maybe there's a chat, maybe there's also separate things that do processing behind the scenes as you're having the conversation, or language models that are behind different buttons or uploaders or other different aspects of an application, you can actually sketch all of those in one canvas and use it as the kind of design artifact for getting that behavior to work well. There's no limit to the number of language models you put in an individual canvas, the numbers and kinds of inputs and outputs. And if you use only part of the flow, it still works. Versus the rest of it, I can still come back down here and type 5. And we'll still, oh, there it goes, 6. Still get data out the other side. In this case, when I ran this flow, it actually, I believe, reprocessed that top one too, because it ran the rest of that data. That's it for today. I just want to showcase the kind of variability that we've got in the new Flow Canvas and some of the fun things that you can do as you start to connect these things together. Coming up, I think in the next couple of videos, I'll focus in on taking a flow that you build or a file in Zero Width and putting it inside of another one, and how that starts to get really, really powerful with tool calls. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you want to. There's links in the description to the Discord. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. Drop a comment. Provide feedback, and excited about coming up for the actual release of this so you can get your hands on it and play around with it. I've been really enjoying using it to build and deliver on the client work for businesses that we've been applying this methodology to for their AI products and services that we're helping out with. And I'm really excited for it to be actually out there. So see you next time. Thanks. Bye.